What is the quiet loneliness that women carry, and how can we heal it? If you've been raised as a woman with the conditioning that you must always look out for other people, your energies are constantly on the outside of you. Many women feel a deep sense of loneliness even in the middle of people, primarily because their attention is always expected to be on the others. They're very rarely able to step up, show up in their full authentic self, express themselves completely and truly, and therefore they feel as if they are not seen, heard, or understood by anyone. This is a very unique kind of loneliness. It can happen in the middle of a crowd, it can happen with a partner, with a family member, and women in particular are conditioned to understand, those very small, subtle cues of what is happening with the emotional temperature in the room. All of us belong to an emotional ecosystem. Today, let's talk a little bit about the workplace and the emotional ecosystem there. Women in the workplace, or anyone in the workplace actually, comes to the workplace bringing all the energies and the concerns and the traumas of their childhood, of their personal life into the workspace. Of course, we all function as professionals and we step up and we do what is required. But women have been hardwired and conditioned since childhood to always take what I call the emotional temperature of the room. So they're constantly judging, is somebody looking stressed? Does this look like it's going to end up being a conflict? Is this person misunderstanding, or are they deliberately trying to create trouble? Who's feeling sad? Who's feeling angry? Because women have always been taught that their role is to keep the peace. It is to reduce conflict. It is to make sure that everyone else is happy. The assumption is that if everyone else is happy, then the woman is happy. What this does is a lifetime of neglect and a lifetime of deep-seated loneliness, which even women actually don't understand, that what they are feeling is a sense of loneliness. They may feel restless, they may feel anxious, stressed, tired, but we need to name it. This is actually loneliness, which comes from the emotional gap between what you need in terms of being seen, being heard, being understood, being able to be your own true authentic self in front of the people you are safe with, versus always being the invisible caretaker even in the workplace. So the emotional ecosystem of the workplace is often managed by the women in a way that even they don't understand sometimes. It's at a subconscious level, it's a very subtle level, but it is exhausting. It is still work. It is still labor. And as a result of which, women who are often then made to compete with each other for, the validation, particularly if you are working in a workplace which is hierarchical. If women are made to compete with each other, it can create a constant conflict and a constant stress to the subconscious. If women are doing it at a subconscious level and doing it continuously, not only is it exhausting, but it also leads to a sense of resentment. Because no one's looking out for you, no one's asking you how you're doing, but you are constantly somehow trying to manage the emotional temperature of the workplace. And this resentment often then comes up inside them as guilt. You feel guilty. You're like, I had to help that one. So why do I hate them now? And there must be something wrong with me. So there's a lot of internalized guilt. So there is a lot of complicated emotions that have to be navigated when you take on the role of managing the emotional temperature or doing the emotional labor in the workplace, which results in deep-seated loneliness, because a lot of these things you can't even share with someone. Like even your best friend at work, you may not be able to say that, look, I'm so annoyed with you because I'm constantly having to make sure there's conflict resolution. I'm constantly having to take care that the rest of the team is, working peacefully and happily. And you're not even noticing, like you're not even realizing what I'm doing, right? So the guilt can also be pretty high. And the third very important one is the fear of rejection. So one of the reasons why women are, of course, they're conditioned to do this, but also it makes them into people pleasers. So the idea is that I am somebody worth liking only if I do something for somebody. And what that doing is this, the emotional labor, maintaining the peace, reducing the conflict. So there is also this sense of, constantly needing validation, and the fear that if I draw boundaries, if I keep my energies to myself, if I stop overgiving and giving away my energies to people, if I stop overdoing for other people, will they no longer like me? And will I be rejected? Will I be isolated? Will I be left alone? So there is this subconscious fear also constantly playing. And of course, human beings are social animals. We want to work in communities, we want to build communities. And the workplace does become like your proxy family because you spend so many hours there. But the connection cannot be created by the energy and the work being done one sided. Very often it's the women who end up doing this emotional labor because men have not been socialized that way. They have not been raised in that way. And they have a lot of privilege, a lot of entitlement, and they just assume because a lot of emotional labor is done by the women at home. And they just assume that, that's going to continue at the workplace. And this results, as I said, in a lot of anxiety for the women, a lot of stress, frustration, guilt, and a kind of emptiness, which really they are unable to articulate and say, look, I feel lonely, even though I actually enjoy work, I like my workplace, I like my colleagues, but they are unable to understand why they are feeling so anxious, stressed or restless all the time. And the name to give to that feeling is loneliness. So how do you heal this loneliness? You don't do it by just telling everyone, okay, I'm done. Like, you need to manage your own conflict, you need to figure out your own emotional temperature, you all need to regulate the ecosystem. It starts small. First, sit with yourself and try and understand, what do I need? I need a stress-free environment at work. I need it for my creativity. I need it for my peace of mind. Also try and analyze, why is there this deep-seated need to maintain peace and to reduce conflict? Have you come from a family environment where maybe there was a parent who was alcoholic or violent or abusive, or generally the environment was dysfunctional? And it was up to you to always maintain the peace. And are you carrying those patterns forward? So first thing to do is, as they say, know thyself. Understand where this is coming from, why this deep-seated need to maintain peace in the office or at the workplace. And what are the patterns that you're carrying forward? Once you're able to understand the patterns, then you can figure out what is it that you actually want. And what is it that you can do while keeping your energies to yourself, but also, of course, being there for others, but with a certain boundary. And, when you start creating boundaries, it's unfortunate, but you will lose some people. You know which people you will lose? The people you will lose are the ones who are benefiting from you not having boundaries. They are the ones who are benefiting from the work that you're putting in, and they are going to be resentful, and they're going to get angry with you or bully you or try to bring you back to the old pattern. And which is why first you have to know yourself and be very sure of what you want, and then only start negotiating boundaries. If you start negotiating boundaries first without doing the inner work of what are your patterns, why are you behaving this way, then what will happen is you'll actually add up increasing the conflict. You'll tell people things in a way that pushes them away. You will actually, your fears will come true. Your deepest fears of rejection, of loneliness will all come true even more. And of course, there'll be conflict at the workplace. So first you have to do the inner work on yourself, figure out why are you doing what you're doing, then figure out what is it that you actually want as a result of this behavior. Are you seeking external validation? Do you want somebody to praise you? Do you think that respect will come to you only if you are able to give this to the workplace? So once you analyze all that, then you can decide what boundaries you want to create. And one more thing that needs to be learned is when to speak up and when to step back. Many of us who are conditioned to be people pleasers, to be conflict averse, to ensure that we're constantly maintaining the peace by making sure everyone's happy, we do two things. One is that we overgive so that other people don't have to put in the work. And the other is we neglect ourselves by not speaking up for the things that we want because we're afraid that it's going to create conflict, or we're afraid that the other person may not like it, or we're afraid of rejection. So we need to learn to do both things. We need to learn to speak up, and we need to learn to step back. So loneliness or, people pleasing, overgiving, none of these are failures. These are simply survival techniques that you learned growing up and that you never really recognized as an adult that you're still holding on to. So naming these things is actually the best way to start resolving and to evolving beyond it. As I said, human beings are social animals. All of us want connection. All of us want community. The only thing is when you're feeling lonely, it means it's a sign from your subconscious telling you that maybe you still need to find the right people. The people who can see you, who can understand you, in front of whom you can be your authentic and true self. So the feeling of loneliness is actually a message for connection. And the best connections can be made when you are authentic and you are expressing your true self. And the best way to express your true self is first to know yourself and understand yourself. And this is the work of relation shift, where you shift the energy of your relationship to yourself and then to others, and as a result of that, to life itself. So I hope you found this useful. Do comment if there's anything you want to share, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.